The rain hammered the roof of their old ranch house in rural Ohio like it was trying to wash away the sins of the world. But nothing could drown out the silence that followed Grayson's confession. "Dad, I'm gay," he said, his voice cracking like thunder in the dim kitchen light. Heart pounding so hard he thought it might burst through his chest. His father, Jack Harlan, just stared at the flickering bulb above the sink, then grabbed his keys from the counter, the jingle echoing like a death knell, and walked out into the storm without a single word, leaving Grayson alone with the ghosts of their shared life and a love he never knew how to bury. Grayson stood frozen by the sink, the dishwater still running cold over his trembling hands, suds swirling down the drain like the remnants of his courage. He was 18, on the verge of college, with dreams of art school in Chicago that felt as distant now as the stars hidden behind the storm clouds. Jack had raised him alone since Mom died in that car wreck, when Grayson was 6 nights of burnt suppers and bedtime stories read from faded truck manuals. Mornings of fishing at dawn where words weren't needed because the quiet between them spoke volumes of fierce, unspoken devotion. Jack was a mechanic, hands calloused from engines and oil. A man who fixed what was broken but never knew how to mend the fractures in his own heart after losing Sarah. Grayson had idolized him, patterned his life after that stoic strength, hiding his own truths deeper than the roots of the oak tree in their backyard where they'd carved their initials one summer. But tonight, the dam had broken. It started with a fight over no thinga late shift at the diner, where Grayson bussed tables to save for tuition and spiraled into the truth he'd carried like a stone in his gut for years. The boy he'd kissed behind the bleachers at the homecoming game. The secret sketches in his notebook of hands intertwined under streetlights. The ache of loving in silence while the world around their small town of Milford preached otherwise. Jack's face had gone blank, eyes glazing over like he'd seen a ghost. And then he was gone. Grayson waited hours, phone clutched in his fist, dialing numbers that went straight to voicemail. By midnight, the rain had slowed to a drizzle, and Grayson curled up on the couch, the house creaking around him like it mourned too. Dawn broke gray and unforgiving, painting the kitchen in shades of regret. Grayson dragged himself to the coffee pot, the machine gurgling like an old friend offering hollow comfort. He texted his best friend, Mia, the only one who'd known about the kiss with Tyler. He left. Just walked out. Her reply buzzed back instantly. "I'm coming over. Don't move." Mia arrived in her beat-up Civic, rain still dripping from her umbrella, her dark curls frizzing in the humidity, eyes wide with that fierce protectiveness she'd honed since they were kids trading comic books under the bleachers. She was straight, out and proud about her bisexuality experiments in high school. But she'd been Grayson's rock, the one who dragged him to pride stickers and hidden notebooks and whispered, "You're enough, Gray. Always." They sat at the scarred oak table, steam rising from mismatched mugs, and Grayson spilled it all: the confession, the silence, the void. "What if he hates me?" he whispered, voice raw. Mia reached across, squeezing his hand. "He doesn't hate you. He's scared. Men like your dad. They built walls higher than the Appalachians to keep the world out. Give him time." But time felt like a luxury Grayson couldn't afford. College applications loomed. His shift at the diner started in 2 hours, and the house payments Jack had always handled them with his steady garage paycheck now stared back from the stack of bills on the counter like accusations. The diner buzzed with the morning rush, truckers nursing black coffee and farmers debating crop yields. But Grayson moved through it all on autopilot, plates clattering, orders blurring. Tyler was there, sliding into a booth during his lunch break from the auto parts store, his easy smile faltering when he saw Grayson's red-rimmed eyes. Tyler was 19, broad-shouldered from football days he'd quit after a knee injury, with sandy hair and green eyes that crinkled when he laughed, eyes that had locked onto Grayson's during that stolen kiss. igniting something wild and terrifying. "Hey," Tyler said softly, voice cutting through the din. "Heard about last night. You okay?" Grayson slid into the booth opposite him, apron still tied, the scent of grease clinging to his skin. "Define okay." They talked in hushed tones, Tyler's boot nudging Grayson's under the tableau's secret anchor. Tyler had come out last year to a family that surprised him with hugs instead of horror. But he knew the weight of Milford's whispers, the sideways glances at the one gay kid in town. "My place tonight," Tyler offered, thumb brushing Grayson's knuckles. "Mom's working doubles. We can talk. Or not." The invitation hung heavy with promise, a flicker of warmth in the cold aftermath. But Grayson hesitated, the ghost of his father's footsteps echoing in his mind. That evening, as the sun dipped low over cornfields stretching endless to the horizon, Grayson drove his rusty pickup to Tyler's trailer on the edge of town. The place was modest, porch light flickering like a hesitant welcome, wind chimes tinkling in the breeze. Tyler pulled him inside, the door clicking shut behind them. And for a moment, they just stood there, breaths sinking in the quiet. Then Tyler's arms were around him, solid and sure, lips finding Grayson's in a kiss that tasted of rain and rebellion. It was messy, urgent hands fumbling with buttons, hearts racing against ribs collapsing onto the sagging couch in a tangle of limbs and whispered affirmations. "You're beautiful," Tyler murmured against his neck, fingers tracing the curve of his spine. And Grayson believed it, if only for the night, losing himself in the rhythm of bodies that fit like puzzle pieces long separated. But dawn brought clarity, and with it, the ache sharpened. Grayson slipped out before Tyler woke, leaving a note on the pillow, "Needed this. See you soon." Back home, the emptiness hit harder the unmade bed where Jack's snores used to rumble. The toolbox still open on the garage bench like he'd step back any second. Grayson rifled through drawers, finding old photos, him at 10, gap-toothed grin on Jack's shoulders at the county fair, Sarah's laugh frozen in a snapshot, her hand on Jack's cheek, a letter from her, tucked in a Bible on the shelf, yellowed with time, "Love him fierce. Jack. He's our light." Tears blurred the ink, and Grayson clutched it to his chest, vowing silently to be that light, even if it meant shining alone. Days blurred into a week. Then two. Mia dragged him to the local library's hidden LGBTQ+ meetup, a ragtag group in the basement led by an elderly librarian with stories of Stonewall etched in her eyes. There, Grayson shared his story, voices overlapping in solidarity tales of rejection and reclamation that stitched his fraying edges. Tyler became a constant. Stolen moments in the woods behind the high school, picnics under starlit skies where they dreamed of Chicago together, hands laced like lifelines. Romance bloomed tentative and tender, Tyler's sketches of them intertwined mirroring Grayson's own art. But the shadow of Jack loomed, a specter in every quiet moment. One crisp October afternoon, as leaves turned fiery underfoot, Grayson spotted the truck Jack's battered Ford parked crooked outside the garage. Heart slamming, he bolted inside, finding his father hunched over the workbench, tools scattered like fallen soldiers. Jack looked older, lines deeper around his eyes, flannel rumpled as if he'd slept in it. "Dad." Grayson breathed, door banging shut behind him. Jack's head snapped up, gaze flickering with something raw regret. "Fear." "Son," he rasped, voice gravel from disuse. The air thickened, words hanging unspoken. But this time, Grayson wouldn't let silence win. He stepped closer, the scent of oil and ozone grounding him. "Why'd you leave?" Jack's hands trembled on a wrench, knuckles white. I didn't know how to stay." The confession cracked open, Spilling forth in halting bursts the grief of losing Sarah, the fear of failing Grayson, the small-town sermons that painted love like his son's as a sin. Thought I was protecting you. From me. From everything. Grayson listened, fury and forgiveness warring in his chest, until he pulled his father into a hug. The first in years. Bodies rigid, then softening like ice under sun. You raised me to be strong. Grayson whispered. Now let me show you love's not fragile. From there, the mending began slow. Stitches pulled tight over wounds. Jack attended a PFLAG meeting with Grayson, sitting stone-silent at first, then asking questions that bridged chasms. Tyler met Jack over backyard burgers. Nerves electric. But Jack's gruff, treat him right. Kid sealed an uneasy alliance. Romance deepened Grayson's and Tyler's with weekends in Cleveland's pride parades. Hands held openly under rainbow banners. Kisses free from shadows. Yet tension simmered. Jack's old friends whispered. A coworker at the garage cornered him with Bible verses. And Grayson caught the strain in his father's slumped shoulders. Winter gripped Milford in iron fists. Snow blanketing fields like forgotten promises. Grayson aced his portfolio for art school. Acceptance letter arriving like a beacon. But doubt crept in cold he leave. With Jack still teetering. One blizzard night. Power out. They huddled by the fireplace. Flames dancing shadows on walls. Jack pulled out Sarah's letter. Reading it aloud. Voice breaking on our light. I almost lost you. He admitted. Won't happen again. Grayson nodded. Tears freezing on lashes. The hook of their bond reforged stronger. Spring thawed the ground and hearts alike. Tyler proposed a road trip to Chicago for orientation. Jack insisting on driving them halfway. The cab filled with awkward jokes and shared playlist Springsteen for Jack. Hosier for the boys. At the state line. Hugs lingered. Jack's eyes wet. Proud of you. Gray. Always was. The words, long withheld, unlocked floods Grayson sobbing into his father's shoulder. Tyler's hand steady on his back. College unfolded in bursts of color, dorm life. Canvas stretched taut. Tyler visiting with coffee-fueled all-nighters turning to lazy mornings. But calls home anchored him Jack's voice steadier. Stories of garage tales laced with Tell Tyler High. Back in Milford for summer. Grayson organized a small pride picnic. Rainbow flags fluttering on the town green. Jack manned the grill. Flipping burgers with a, who wants medium rare? That masked his nerves. But when a neighbor sneered, he squared up, that's my boy. Back off. Romance hit tempests too Tyler jealous of Grayson's new studio friend. Arguments flaring like summer storms but they weathered. Emerging with I love you, etched permanent. One August Eve. Under that old oak. Grayson carved a new initial beside theirs, GNT. Forever intertwined. Jack watched from the porch. Smile faint but real. The man who'd walked away now standing firm. Years folded like pages, Grayson graduated. Gallery show in Chicago drawing Jack and Tyler. Tears mingling with applause. Jack found love tentatively a widow from PFLAG. Her laughter filling the ranch house once more. Tyler and Grayson built a life. Loft apartment overlooking Lake Michigan. Walls alive with art of bent but unbroken spirits. The real hook. Though the one that lingered wasn't the leaving, but the returning. In a world quick to walk away. Jack's silence had been his loudest lesson. Love demands words. But forgiveness writes the ending. And in Milford's quiet fields, under endless American skies, Grayson knew he'd raised his father too. Grayson woke to the scent of fresh coffee wafting through the loft's open windows. Lake Michigan's waves a distant lullaby beyond the glass. It was their 3rd anniversary. Tyler's doing pancakes stacked haphazardly on the counter. A single daisy in a mason jar because fancy's overrated. Tyler patted in from the kitchen. apron smeared with batter. His grin boyish despite the stubble shadowing his jaw. Rise and shine. Artist. We've got a day to steal. Grayson pulled him down. Kisses lazy and deep. Bodies fitting seamless after years of practice. At 25. Life in Chicago felt like a canvas half-painted vibrant strokes of gallery openings and late-night inspirations. But smudges of doubt from Milford's echoes. The call came mid-morning. As they strolled hand-in-hand through Lincoln Park. Autumn leaves crunching underfoot. Jack's voice crackled over the line. Tinny but urgent, Gray. It's Dad. Need you home. It's the garage. Heart lurching. Grayson booked the first train. Tyler packing a bag without question. The ride blurred past farmlands. Memories surfacing like ghosts. Jack's truck idling at dawn. Teaching him to change oil with hands that trembled only from cold. Milford greeted them with crisp air and the familiar hum of the interstate. The ranch house lights glowing like a beacon. Jack met them at the door. Thinner than Grayson remembered. Eyes shadowed under the porch bulb. Thanks for coming so quick. Inside. The kitchen table held a stack of foreclosure notices. Red ink screaming delinquency. The garage. Jack's lifeline after Sarah. Where he'd poured sweat into engines to keep them afloat had been hit hard by the recession. Clients drying up like Ohio creeks in drought. Pride's great and all. Jack muttered, avoiding Grayson's gaze. But bills don't care about rainbows. The word stung. Old wounds flexing. But Grayson saw the plea beneath the man who'd once walked away now reaching. However gruffly. Tyler jumped in. Ever the fixer. We can help. Crowdfund. Side gigs. Jack grunted skepticism. But over dinner Tyler's chilly earning reluctant nods the ideas flowed. Grayson sketched logos for a garage overhaul. Harlan's Heartland Repairs, with wrenches forming a subtle heart. Humanizing the brand. Nights blurred into action. Grayson on calls to Chicago contacts for marketing. Tyler elbow deep in inventory. Jack's silence thawing into not bad. Kid. Romance simmered low amid the chaos. Stolen glances over blueprints. Tyler's hand on Grayson's thigh under the table. A reminder that love was the engine keeping them running. But tension coiled tight. A local pastor rallied against the agenda. Flyers decrying the Pride picnic as moral decay. And whispers turned to outright sabotage. Tires slashed on Jack's truck. Anonymous calls laced with slurs. Grayson confronted a face from high school. Now a deacon's son. In the diner parking lot. This ends now. Fists clenched. But Tyler pulled him back. Breath hot on his neck. Fight smart. Not hard. Jack. Overhearing later. Laid a hand on Grayson's shoulder. First voluntary touch since the thaw. You were right. Words matter. The admission cracked Grayson open. Hugging his father fierce. The three of them a makeshift family against the storm. Winter descended harsh. Snow piling drifts against the garage doors. But momentum built. The crowdfunding hit goal. Locals chipping in not all. But enough stories of Jack's quiet kindnesses resurfacing. Grayson and Tyler hosted a launch event. Rainbows subtly woven into banners. Jack grilling with a no politics. Just burgers sign that drew laughs. Pride swelled when the first big job rolled in, a classic Mustang restoration for a Chicago collector. Tying Grayson's worlds. Yet romance tested limits. Late nights strained Tyler. Resentment bubbling. You're always saving him. What about us? Arguments flared. Words sharp as wrenches. Grayson accusing Tyler of jealousy. Tyler firing back on abandonment fears. One sleet-lashed evening. Tyler stormed out. Taillights fading into whiteout. Grayson chased. Boots slipping on ice. Finding him at the oak tree. Snow dusting sandy hair. I can't lose you too. Grayson gasped. Pulling him close. Tyler's kiss was salt and surrender. Then promise me Chicago after this. Our life. They made love in the truck cab. Windows fogging. Reaffirming vows amid the howl. Spring brought revival, garage thriving. Jack dating Ellen tentatively, her widow's wisdom a balm. Shared stories over pie knitting souls. Grayson returned to Chicago. Tyler beside. But visits home wove tighter bonds. Jack's first pride float. A tow truck decked in pastels. Him waving awkwardly to cheers. The hook twisted deeper, not just survival, but thriving in the gray spaces where love bent but didn't break. Grayson's next gallery show loomed. Themes of fractured families mended in oils and charcoals. Jack drove up. Ellen in tow. Suit ill-fitting, but eyes proud. "That's us," he said, nodding at a piece of father and son silhouetted against storm clouds parting. Tears pricked. Grayson hugged him, whispering, "We made it." Summer solstice. Under full moon. Tyler proposed on the loft balcony, ring simple silver, engraved with their initials. "Build with me." Grayson yes-ed through sobs. Calling Jack first, "Dad, we're engaged." Silence. Then a chuckle. "About time. Invite the whole damn town." Milford's wedding was small. Oak-draped. Jack walking Grayson down the aisle in a flannel under tux. Tyler radiant. Vows echoed human truths in silence and storm. "I choose you." Years layered like varnish. Grayson teaching art. Tyler engineering wind turbines. Jack and Ellen retiring to Florida Keys. Grandkids came adopted. Rainbow bright Jack doting with stories of your dad's wild days. The walking away. A scar faded to story. Teaching that redemption's path wins slow but true. Love the map that guides home. Grayson's hands trembled on the steering wheel as the Chicago skyline receded in the rearview. The engagement ring glinting like a promise under dashboard lights. Tyler dozed beside him, head lolled against the window. Their road trip south to Milford, a bridge between futures. At 28, Grayson felt the pull of roots and Wings art career blooming with a solo exhibit. But Jack's latest voicemail. Voice edged with fatigue. Tugged insistent. "Check in soon." "Son." Ellen's nagging about grandbabies. Laughter bubbled. But worry simmered. Dad's cough had lingered too long. Dismissed as old man gripes. The ranch house welcomed with wraparound hugs. Ellen's apple pie steaming on the sill. Jack's eyes crinkling at Tyler's future son-in-law reporting. Dinner sprawled lazy grilled corn. Stories of garage glories now legend in town. But midnight found Grayson on the porch swing. Stars pricking velvet sky. When Jack joined him. Thermos of decaf in hand. "Spit it out." Jack grunted, settling creakily. Grayson hesitated. Then, "Doctor says tests next week." "Cough's not nothing." Jack's face tightened. Mask cracking. "Knew it. But hey, Harlan's don't fold." The diagnosis dropped like a bomb 2 weeks later. Stage 2 lung cancer. Chemo looming. Grayson canceled his exhibit prep. Tyler rearranging shifts. Ellen stealing with recipes for ginger tea. Milford rallied quiet neighbors dropping casseroles. Pastor who'd once sneered now praying neutral. Jack fought gruff. Chemo days in the truck blasting classic rock. Vomiting into ditches but quipping. Beats oil changes. Grayson sketched him raw balding head. Eyes fierce portraits capturing the man beyond stoicism. Romance strained under weight. Tyler's frustration peaked one rain-soaked night. Arguing in the guest room, "You're drowning in this." "We had plans." Grayson snapped back. Voice venom. "Family's not a plan you scrap." Door slammed. Silence thick as fog. Morning brought Tyler's apology. Coffee and contrition, scared of losing you to it. They mended slow. Walks in fields where wildflowers nodded forgiveness. Kisses reclaiming ground. Kitch turned kinky when Jack, mid-treatment, confessed over porch beers, "Should have said it sooner, proud of your life." Gray. The art. Tyler. All of it. Tears mixed with brew. Grayson gripping his hand. Means everything. Chemo-blurred months. Hair lost, but spirit-sharpening Jack reading Grayson's old comics. Chuckling at caped heroes mirroring his son's quiet heroism. Remission whispered spring. Scans clean as Ohio creaks after thaw. Celebration picnic under the oak. Rainbow cake Ellen baked. Townies mingling wary to warm. Tyler toasted. To second chances. Jack raised glass. Voice steady. To love that sticks. Grayson returned to Chicago fortified. Exhibit silent returns, selling out pieces of bent light through cracks. Jack visited. Ellen beaming. Buying the portrait of them fishing at dawn. Frame it big. He said. Wedding plans solidified. Vows rewritten with illnesses ink, resilience etched deep. Ceremony on the ranch. June's sun gilding vows Tyler and Grayson exchanging rings under arches of wild rose. Jack officiating awkward but earnest, in sickness. Health. Silence. Storm love endures. Honeymoon in Key West. Jack and Ellen house sitting. Waves lapping promises. Back. Life layered. Grayson adjunct professor. Tyler consulting remotely. Visits home weaving tighter. Cancer's shadow lingered. Annual scans rituals. But Jack thrived volunteering at PFLAG. Stories of walking away now cautionary tales. Grandkid arrived via adoption little Jamie. Curls wild. Eyes like Tyler S. Jack spoiling with tool sets and tails. One harvest moon. Grayson found Jack at the garage. Polishing the old Ford. Remember the night I left? Jack asked. Grayson nodded. Taught me silence hurts worst. Jack pulled him close. Never again. The hook endures, not the leaving. But the staying love's true drama in returns unscripted. Human hearts rewriting endings worthy. Tyler's laugh echoed through the nursery. Little Jamie's giggles bubbling in response as Grayson snapped photos from the doorway. Heart swelling at the sight. At 32. Fatherhood fit like a glove tailored in dreams Jamie. Adopted at 2. Now 3 in terrorizing blocks with tiny fists. His dark curls a mirror of Grayson's youth. The loft had morphed into a home. Walls splashed with kid art beside Grayson's oils. Tyler's engineering blueprints tacked casual. But Milford called insistent. Jack's emails laced with, when's the visit? Garage misses its chief mechanic. Code for Ellen's hints at more grandbabies. The drive south unfolded golden. Jamie chattering from his car seat about Papa's big truck. Windows down to autumn's breath. Ranch arrival was chaos, joyful Ellen scooping Jamie. Jack hoisting tools for helper duty. Evenings sprawled on quilts. Fireflies dancing as stories wove. Jack's garage yarns now starring Jamie as sidekick. Tyler's wind farm tales sparking wide eyes. But undercurrents stirred. A letter arrived. Postmarked faded, from Uncle Ray. Jack's estranged brother. Words venom on family sins, post-wedding photos in the paper. Jack crumpled it. But Grayson saw the flinch-old riffs from Ray's bigotry. Severed when Jack chose silence over blood after the coming out. Let it lie? Jack muttered. But nights found him pacing. Cough faint, but returning. Grayson confronted gently over coffee. Talk to me. Dad. Jack's confession spilled, halting the cancer scare, unearthed regrets. Ray's rejection mirroring his own past walkout. Can't let history repeat on you. Son. Tears rare. Jack's voice cracked. Forgive an old fool. Grayson hugged fierce. Already did. Now heel forward. Action brewed. Grayson mediated a call. Ray's bluster crumbling to sobs apologies for failing Jack back then. Promises tentative. Reunion picnic mended fractures. Ray awkward with Jamie. But Jack's nod sealed. Water under bridges. Romance reignited amid it, Tyler and Grayson stealing barn dances. Jamie asleep in arms. spins under string lights, echoing their first kiss. Still my wild thing, Tyler whispered, hands roaming slow. Lovemaking in hayloft a reclaiming. Jamie's first Pride Day in Milford. Tiny flag waving. Jack marching beside. Chest puffed against stairs. That's my grandboy. He boomed to hecklers. Shield unyielding. Chicago winters past cozier. Jamie's snowmen guarding the loft. Grayson's classes on queer narratives drawing crowds. Tyler's promotion meant travel. Strain's testing nights alone with Jamie. Grayson sketching loneliness into beauty. Crisis crested spring, Jack's cough worsened. Scans mercury occurrence suspected. Grayson raced home. Tyler juggling flights. Ellen's face ashen. Waiting room vigils bonded deeper. Jack's humor defiant. Beats waiting for oil changes. Treatment aggressive. But family encircled Ray visiting weekly. Casseroles stacking. Remission again. Summer triumphant. Grayson proposed a family trip Smokey's cabin. Hikes in Esmores. Jack teaching Jamie knots. Tyler and Grayson hands laced at dusk. Vows renewed silent. Back. Grayson's book deal landed, shadows to light. Queer fathers and sons, memoir weaving their tale. Sales soaring. Talk shows calling. Jack read Galley's Teary. You made us immortal. Jamie's school play. Grayson directing. Stage lights on tiny thespian. Post curtain. Tyler's kiss backstage. Our stories just beginning. Hook's twist. Walking away birth, walking toward love's plot not linear. But looped in grace. Every step human. Every return profound. Grayson's fingers flew over keys in the dim study. Cursor blinking on the manuscript's final chapter. Words flowing like catharsis long damned. At 35, authorship crowned his arc, shadows to light, not just memoir, but manifesto. Pages pulsing with Milford's grit and Chicago's gleam. Jack's silhouette etched central. Jamie slumbered down the hall. Nightlight casting stars on ceiling. Tyler's snores a bass note to the city's hum. Success tasted bittersweet. Book tour loomed. Pulling him from nest just as Jamie started kindergarten questions. Why two dads? Like mommy's friends. Tour kicked off whirlwind New York readings raw. Audiences weeping at the coming out scene. L.A. Panels on queer resilience drawing stars. But midway, in Atlanta's green room. Phone buzzed urgent. Ellen. Voice quavering. Jack fell. Garage ladder. Hospital now. Grayson chartered flight. Heart vice tight. Landing to sterile halls and Jack's pale face under fluorescence broken hip. Pneumonia complication from the tumble. Beside the bed. Machines beeping steady. Jack gripped his hand. Slippery rungs. That's all. Don't fuss. But eyes betrayed fear. The man who'd fixed worlds now fragile. Tyler arrived dawn. Jamie in tow via Ray's drive. Family huddled defying odds. Ellen recounted the slipjack reaching for a high-shelf part. Reminiscing aloud about teaching Gray that grip. Irony bitter. Recovery stretched. Rehab grinding Jack's pride wheelchair, chafing independence. Therapy sessions laced grumbles. Grayson stayed weeks. Reading chapters aloud. Jamie's drawings taping walls, stick figure grandpas with capes. Tyler balanced remote work. Romance flickering in stolen showers. Touches electric amid chaos. Hold me like the world's ending. Grayson begged one night. Tyler's body answer fervent. Town rallied fierce fundraiser at the diner. Pride allies auctioning Grayson-signed books. Proceeds for home mods. Ray stepped up. Installing ramps. Bridge to brother mended solid. Pastor. Reformed. Led prayer circle neutral warm. Discharge brought homecomings layered. Jack in recliner. Ellen fussing. But Grayson spied the shift dad's stories softer. Vulnerabilities voiced. One evening. Porch swing creaking. Jack admitted, that night I left. Thought I was sparing you pain. Now see it caused more. Grayson leaned head on shoulder. Payne's the teacher. You learned loudest. Jamie's first day school. Drop off tears from all Tyler's snapping pics. Grayson whispering, brave like grandpa. Pride swelled watching curls bob away. Tour resumed, truncated. Sales skyrocketing from the real-life hero buzz. Grayson wove the fall into epilogue. Book climbing bestsellers. Film rights nibbling. Jack joked from bed, Hollywood me. Play me grizzled. Romance deepened post-crisis Tyler and Grayson renewing at City Hall. Simple ceremony Lakeview. Jamie ring bearer beaming. Vows updated, through falls and flights. Together. Fall foliage tour de force. Grayson keynoting at Ohio Lit Fest. Jack wheeled front row. Applause thundering. Post-talk. Hug on stage. Wrote us true. Jack murmured. Winter holidays blended home Chicago tree trimming with Milford carols. Jamie bridging worlds. Jack's your log tale. Voice steady. Once walked from light. Now chase it. Spring's renewal. Jack mobile again. Garage tweaks for senior mechanics. Ellen's garden blooming defiant. Grayson's TEDx invite. Silent walks to spoken loves. Views viral. Ripples to Milford teens coming out safer. Jamie's bedtime ritual evolved stories of Daddy's big adventure. Hook not fear, but fortitude. Tyler's whisper nightly. Our plot thickens beautifully. The narrative arcs eternal. Departures echo birth's arrival symphony. Love's drama in every mended step. Humanity's grace the ultimate twist. Sunlight slanted through hospital blinds. Casting bars on the linoleum as Grayson paced the waiting room. Phone clutched like talisman. At 38. Life's canvas bore scars beautiful book a beacon. Jamie thriving in second grade art club. Tyler's firm expanding green. But Ellen's call shattered routine. Heart attack. Stable. But. Come quick. Milford's ER hummed urgent. Jack's room a cocoon of monitors and wilted flowers. His color returning slow under oxygen mask. Tyler drove straight through. Jamie boarded with Ray. Arrival a whirlwind of forms and fears. Jack woke groggy. Eyes finding Grayson's. Scared Ellen more than me. Weak chuckle. But truth lingered years of grease and grief taxing ticker. Doctors preached lifestyle shifts. Meds stacking. Jack's nod resigned. Doc's orders. Huh. Homeward bound. Ranch adapted and new defibrillator alerts. Meal preps from Ellen's arsenal. Grayson extended sabbatical. Teaching virtual. Jamie's virtual school bridging. Family dinners ritualized. Laughter forced, then free Jack ribbing Tyler's fancy salads. Jamie's knock-knocks landing soft. Strained surface subtle, Tyler's travel clashing care. Arguments hushed post-bedtime. You're splitting again. Tyler accused one dawn. Coffee scalding. Grayson defended. He's my anchor. Truce in tears. Makeup slow porch walks hand clasped. Vows whispered, balance us. Always. Town's embrace, deepened pride committee honoring Jack, ally of year. Plaque gleaming. He accepted teary, just loved my boy. Rest followed. Ray's presence constant. Brothers fishing like youths. Casts sinking forgiveness. Jamie's empathy bloom drawing, grandpa strong cards. Reading to Jack from dinosaur books. One quiet afternoon. Jack confided, you walking in. After I walked out. Best plot twist. Grayson smiled, wrote the sequel together. Grayson's podcast launched, Echoes of Return. Queer voices on reconciliation Jack, guesting halting. Words profound. Silence was my villain. Love made me hero. Downloads surged. Ripples to isolated hearts. Romance rekindled fierce Tyler surprising with weekend getaway. Cabin in Adirondacks. Jamie with Ellen. Fireplace crackling. Bodies rediscovering. Tyler's touch mapping scars. Every line tells our story. Dawn hikes. Proposals playful. Marry me again. Grayson's yes eternal. Summer's pride parade. Jack in convertible lead. Jamie waving from lap. Cheers deafening. Postmarch. Ice cream sticky. Jack's arm around Grayson. Wouldn't trade this rainbow. Fall brought book 2-inch threads of us. Weaving Jamie's threads launches cozy. Jack signing beside. Heart checkups routine. Jack compliant. Vigor returning. Jamie's school project. Family tree. Branches rainbowed. Jack's limb bold. Presentation teary. Classmates clapping. Winter solstice. Grayson pinned epistle to Jack read aloud firelit. You raised me alone. Walked in fear. Returned in grace. Fatherhood's circle complete. Jack's reply. Voice thick, son. You raised me right. Tyler's firm landed contract wind farm near Milford. Grounding flights. Family expanded. Jamie's Aunt Mia visiting. Stories linking pasts. The drama's core pulses. Abandonment's shadow yields to alliance's light. Love's narrative not ended, but ever unfolding. Each chapter humanely heroic. Grayson's easel stood sentinel in the loft studio. Brushes paused mid-stroke on a canvas of fractured skies mending. Inspiration drawn from Jamie's latest question, Daddy, why do people walk away? At 40, Wisdom Wade Gentle Book tours global now. Tyler's beard silvering handsome. Their love a tapestry threadbare but resilient. Milford anchored. Quarterly flights home to Jack's barbecues. Ellen's quilts. But recent calls hinted shift, legs giving out. Son. Age catching up. Visit confirmed, Jack leaning on cane. Steps measured. But grin undimmed hoisting Jamie for hugs. Grandpa's secret weapon. He quipped. Cane tapping rhythm. Evenings on porch. Stars winking. Talk turned legacies Jack, gifting garage to young apprentice. Keep the heart in it. Grayson absorbed. Sketching furtive. Dad's profile etched time's grace. Crisis brewed autumn. Fall downstairs. Hip refractured. Hospital again. Grayson flew immediate. Tyler trailing with Jamie. ER vigil laced prayers unspoken. Surgeon's words stark. Mobility limited permanent. Home care essential. Jack's defiance cracked. Cage for an old bird. Ellen soothed. But Grayson saw terror man of motion tethered. Adaptations cascaded. Ranch retrofitted ramps. Stairlift humming. Aids rotating. Grayson coordinated. Book promo sidelined. Guilt gnawing. Tyler's support steadfast. But whispers nights. Burnout's real. Love. Delegate. Romance sustained in fragments bubble baths post-bedtime. Tyler's massages easing knots. Intimacy slow burn reaffirming. Jamie's resilience shown crafting grandpa adventures books. Bedtime readings in hospital. Voice piping courage. One session. Jack teared. Kids got your fire. Gray. Town wove safety net PFLAG drives for mods. Ray captaining builds. Pastors visits scripture free. Jack's therapy gruff. Progress plotting. But Grayson witnessed pivot. Dad journaling. Pages of regrets to redemptions. Shared hesitant. For you. When I'm gone. Grayson's essay series, Aging in Color, captured it. Queer elders' voices including Jack's. Published poignant. Responses flooded. Your dad's my hero too. Thanksgiving blended home Chicago feast, then Milford. Tables groaning unity. Jack carved turkey steady-handed. Toast slurred slight. To walks taken. Paths shared. Jamie's holiday play. Scrooge redeemed. Grandpa's role advisory. Laughter healing. Winter's grip softened spring. Jack ambulatory aided. Garden tilling with Jamie. Soul therapy. Grayson's gallery retrospective, lifelines, Jack opening. Words wobbly but wise. Broke once. Mended manifold. Tyler's sabbatical aligned. Family Sabbath, road trip Badlands. Canyons, echoing stories. Evening's campfire. Jack's tales legendary. Grayson and Tyler entwined. Jamie stargazing. Summer solstice wedding vow renewal beachfront simple. Jack best man. Cane flower wreath. Oaths ocean voiced. Through every stride. Side by side. Fall's harvest. Book 3 gestating generations gay. Jamie co-illustrator. Launches intergenerational. Jack beaming front row. Jamie's 10th birthday. Ranch bashpanada bursting. Jack's surprise, pony rides. Cane aside momentary. Whisper later. For the boy I almost lost. Tyler's quiet proposal evolution. Adoption papers for sibling. Grow our circle. Grayson's yes tearful. The saga's heartbeat. Departure's draft fans' arrivals flame. Love's epic in incremental graces. Humanity's plot tenderly triumphant. Dusk painted the ranch in amber as Grayson knelt beside the hospital bed. Jack's hand frail in his. Monitors a somber chorus. At 43. Cycles closed poetic Tyler's winds powering Milford now. Jamie tween smart with sketches rivaling his. Family, a constellation steady. But Jack's decline accelerated post-fall, congestive heart failure. Doctor's prognosis gentle, comfort measures. Ellen's vigil constant. Ray rotating shifts. But Grayson's cross-country dashes etched exhaustion. Final week's hospice hued. Ranch room's sunlight filtered. Air lavender from Ellen's sachets. Jack rallied lucid days. Dictating memoir addendum. Tell him the walk was shortest long road. Grayson transcribed. Voice steady. Jamie adding Doodla superhero grandpa's soaring. Tyler's anchor unyielding. Jamie's questions fielded honest. Grandpa's tired. But stories live forever. Romance refuge midnight drives star-chased. Tyler's embrace fortress. We're his legacy too. Town's farewell woven warm letters read aloud. Pride choir caroling soft. Pastor's eulogy prepped neutral honoring. Jack lingered. Eyes devouring family. Best plot I penned. Passing dawnlit. Hand slipping gentle. Room holding breath, then releasing sighs. Graveside simple. Oak shaded. Sarah's stone neighbor engraving. Walk tall. Loved fierce. Eulogy Grayson's. Words woven. He left once. Returned eternal.